Are we? Hello, and welcome to Women's L.I.K.
Hi.
Hi. Sandra, so we're here, we've made it. How incredible. I can't believe we're actually live after all these weeks of planning and discussions and late night phone calls. It's amazing.
Oh, very amazing. So guys, look, lockdown. What have you been doing for the last year? Tell me. I don't want to know everything, but tell me something. What have you been doing?
Well, for me, it was actually quite good. I have to say, I know there's things, not quite good happening for lots of people. And I personally have lost, family and friends who died of COVID. But for me, it was a time to reset, recharge, and just restart, and just looking at where I wanted to be, what I wanted to do, because it kind of brought to light that life's just quite short. So it was good for me because, with the work that I'm doing in mental health, just increased for me. So business was really good at the expense of other people, but at the same time, I'm able to kind of help them. So yeah,
absolutely.
I'm glad that you're there to help them. So it's good to know that as well. And I work for the NHS, and I know that I've seen, that the mental health stuff is increasing and anxiety. So hoping that people get the help that they need. What about you, Suzy? Then, so what have you been doing?
Well, lockdown was, a real mix for me. I mean, I think everyone felt the anxiety and the fear and all the news reports and quite a lot of stress. I felt personally quite comfortable, and I felt grateful for, everything I have and having some outdoor space and having a dog. So, you kind of counted your blessings. I certainly counted my blessings. And I finished my book, which was amazing. I got my book finished, so I had some time to kind of finish the writing. Thank you. Get the book done. And oh, look what I have here. Aha.
Plugging it already. She's plugging it already, guys.
And but I think what I was also very touched to hear, was how people had done found their best to be sort of innovative and flip their hardship into a positive. And I work in mental health services and counselling, so a bit overwhelmed at first. There seemed to be a lot to do and not enough time to go round and not enough, time to give people what they needed. But I think overall it's been a huge coming together of like-minded people, and I've seen so much courage and generosity. So ultimately the human spirit has kind of prevailed, I think.
It's good to know as well. I mean, for me, I studied to be a personal trainer in lockdown, and I was at home at the start, and it was a bit of a roller coaster for me. I've got to be honest with you. I was in the space of 1 hour, I could have been happy and sad at many different occasions. I didn't know whether I was coming or going sometimes. But and I'm a doer. For someone to tell me to stop and just sit there and whatever, I'm a person who does things. So I found it hard sometimes. My if it wasn't for me being at home with my son and my son being there, he kept me going. I was like, oh my God. And he was exactly the same. 1 minute you were up, next minute you were down because you just didn't know what was going on. But I certainly appreciate, my life now. I appreciate everything. It's made me reflect and know that I appreciate what I've got, and appreciate my garden. I appreciate having a garden. I never thought I'd say that. So.
Yes, actually, because some people have space to, especially families with children, wouldn't have had that space all cooped up together. So it just is what it is. But but having, like you said, having a garden where you can actually come out and get into nature and stuff like that is really good.
Definitely.
And I found with my son, who's a teenager, quite difficult because he missed his GCSEs. And I know a lot of parents were in the same position. Locked out, schools closed, and then GCSEs didn't kind of happen like they were expecting. And he was saying, I spent my whole school career working towards GCSEs, and then all of a sudden, woof, it's gone. So, I can really relate to how a lot of teenagers felt, and they've kind of struggled and he's not alone in that feeling of, well, what just happened? Like the wall, the floor came out from underneath me, and what was that? And then going back into college in September, we came out of lockdown for a bit, and then we went back into it again, and we had to go into college and wear masks and everything, and it made it very hard to make friends and feel comfortable and a bit scary. So I think for teenagers and young people and kids generally, it's been a rough thing that they've been through, but again, you see like flickers of real courage and real kind of resilience in our young people, which gives me hope, actually.
I think so. I know that the youngsters found it hard. I mean, for me, even me, I was missing my parents. And the second lockdown, after the first, I was like, well, I managed to get through this, and I was like, phew, the sunny weather kept me going, and just I couldn't see my mom and my dad, and to actually see them now, I'm so happy, and I appreciate them so much as well. And I mean, the sun's come out again in the UK, and that's a relief for me. I like the sunshine. I'm a sunshine girl. I've never been so happy to see it in my life. And I'm, if I can't go on holiday, at least I can sit in a garden. So anyone that doesn't have a garden, I respect that they're stressed that they must have been under. It's just really difficult times.
Yeah.
So what about, have you made any future plans because of lockdown? Have you thought, I'm going to do something different now that I'm sort of coming out into the fresh air again, sort of thing?
I've booked. Well, we are going away. We're visiting Brighton in a few months. I'm kind of planning further ahead, but planning in my head, but not necessarily got things specifically kind of like in my diary. I would love to go to the Jazz Cafe in London.
Camden,
love the Jazz Cafe.
One of my favourite groups, The Real Thing, I know I'm showing my age, is going to be there. And I'm like, oh, but it's the day before my son's 18th birthday. And I'm thinking, and my son's like, Mom, just go. You can come back late and you'll still be here. And I'm like, oh. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, do it.
But you can make like a night of it and stay at a hotel. I mean, I went to the Jazz Cafe and saw Collie Buddz with Sasha, my daughter, and we loved it there. It was the same day as the Notting Hill Carnival, and then Shaggy turned up, and it was a good night.
Oh wow!
And he's going to be, if you could believe it, he's going to be there again. I love it there. It's one of my favourite places. It's just the right size.
Yes.
You can't ask for more.
Yeah.
No, but I'm in Brighton tomorrow. So if anyone sees me there, do say hi. If anyone's watching and they're going to be in Brighton, do come and say hi if you see me. Okay, so I'll be there as well tomorrow.
Absolutely, you and many other people.
I know. We'll be like sardines. I know that. But please, guys, pick up your rubbish. If you are in Brighton, pick up your rubbish off of that beach. Please don't leave your rubbish.
Announcement.
And not even just on the beaches, but just generally on the streets. There's just so much rubbish. And it really kind of gets to me when I think, I could just put it in the bin or just have a bag and take it home with you.
Yeah. It's my bugbear, because my husband said to me that he was like, when people were sort of moaning about people not picking their rubbish up from the beach, my husband was, if he was talking to someone, he said, well, if Sandra's with me, she puts it in her own bag. Everything I've got is like, I'm just putting in pockets and carrying it with me. You'd never see me put rubbish, unless it's a public bin, I take it home with me. So why can't people do that? We need to just start being a bit more considered and considerate of everybody else.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. But I think lockdown has kind of brought out the best and the worst in people. The stress. We noticed it in our local park that there was lots of overflowing bins and things that you wouldn't normally see. And also on the days that it was really hot, everyone was out in the park and no one was really observing social distancing. And there, people were getting quite cross if you wanted to get too close to them. And then you saw those that had on masks and those that didn't. And even that in itself, just going for a nice friendly dog walk could become quite a stressful thing. And it's like, I think because people felt that you just see people in their sort of fight or flight mode. And some people are going out for a walk and damn, whatever happens, and no one's going to stop me. And I'm going to drop my litter because I can't get out of my house. And you could see the stress on people's faces.
I know.
You could see the fear, even behind the mask, you could see the fear in people's eyes if you were slightly too close. And, I was smiling at little kids, hoping they could see my smile coming through my eyes. How scary for them as well,
I had people crossing the road when they saw me, like jumping across that road. And, at first when I went out, I felt as though I was an alien. I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm scared. What can I do? Like, where am I, sort of thing. But you soon get used to it. How do you guys cope with the mask though? And how are you coping with wearing masks?
Not great.
Yeah, me neither. I find it very claustrophobic. I love to take a deep breath in. I'm all about breath. And, I do that at the beginning of my happy in school sessions, and to not have that kind of air in front of me makes me feel really claustrophobic. And I think, I work with a lot of kids that have ASD and ADHD and different difficulties and anxiety and all sorts of things, who are exempt, and they feel worried because they don't have to wear the mask, but they're worried about how people will look at them and the sort of the kind of aggression that they get. So it's very complicated. Yeah. It's very complicated. And then there's all the science, which is kind of real science, pseudoscience, and it's hard to know what to do for the best, you know, and you hear people saying, I'm not going to wear that mask, and I sneezed in it and I coughed in it, and you know, and you're breathing in all your, I don't know, it's a tricky thing. It's a tricky thing. But we do it, and I've got a nice collection of paisley and, you know, leopard skin masks. And I feel like I
matching masks with every outfit.
Yeah. I can do my fashion thing.
I got to wear the hospital mask in a hospital. You got to wear their mask, which is fine with me. But when I'm going out, I've got my Arsenal mask. I've got all sorts of to match. Nice. I'm just needing a blinging one. I need a blinging one. Oh, leave me alone. That's why I wore the red jacket today. So yeah.
Shall we have a little talk about our guest today?
Yes, go ahead.
So we have talk about how we've coped with lockdown. We've got two fantastic guests this afternoon who have very kindly agreed to join us on our inaugural Women's L.I.K issue program. Vanessa Taylor, who is an author and a parent, and she'll share with she'll share with us her own story of getting through lockdown and what she's achieved. And then after that, we have a hot-tipped up-and-coming British actor, Ricardo P Lloyd. And, you know, we've got loads and loads of questions for those guys. So shall we rock it on?
Yeah, but we haven't told, do you think we should let our listeners know, you know, whoever's watching this, they need to know a little bit about us, and we haven't told them anything about who we are. So, Suzy, do you want to say a few things? Angela's she's zipping it already. Let's, do tell us, can you at least tell the people that are watching just something about yourself, just so we know a little bit about you, just very quickly, just one sentence about you.
Oh, I sentence, yeah. I'm a writer. One sentence is never enough. So, yeah, I'm a writer. I'm a therapist. I'm a CBT therapist. I have founded the Happy in School project. So I love working with families and children who are having difficulties in school. And, yeah, I love to talk, obviously. It's why I'm here today. And I'm very passionate about poetry and culture. So that's just, I'll stop there, otherwise I'll never stop. Yeah. But it's fantastic to be here, and working with you two is amazing. I'm just so grateful and happy.
Loving it. A little bit about me. I'm Sandra Ewers, as you can see my name, everybody. I'm really into health and well-being, and I'm fighting the war on diabetes because it's type 2 diabetes in particularly in the community, in the UK, in the world. Only as a result of me being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes 4 years ago, then losing 2.5 stone. So I want to share what I know and raise awareness about health. And that's me in a sort of, and I'm a personal trainer, which I trained to do last year. There's no point me talking about health if I don't know about health. So that's a little bit about me, but there's more to follow. Over to you, Angela.
No, I'm only kidding. About me, I was born in Sheffield. I'm a psychotherapist, but that wasn't my first choice. I spent 22 years in the civil service. For anybody who works in the civil service, that's okay, but it wasn't. And trained as a therapist and work in mental health, and I absolutely love and adore my work. I work private practice, so I get to pick and choose times that I work. Although I do, and I've got a contract with the university as well, so I do work with young people. But yeah, young people, adults, and wanting support for mental health is my bag, and I'm just passionate about it. I could talk about it forever, but I'll fill you in a little bit more later on.
You do a great job. Well done.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, I think what we bring is a sense of real talk. I think, if you would agree, I think we've lived life. We've had different experiences, good and bad. We are very passionate about what we do, and we respect each other, and we're very much for the community and sharing what we know and being positive and inspirational. There's a lot of things that aren't right, we know, in the world, and we know from 2020, certainly, we kind of had it all out there, you know, everything, COVID, George Floyd, you know, mental health of kids, and everything was kind of like woof. And I think that, you know, so what we're trying to do with this program and this platform is to share what we know collectively and bring some upliftment to everyone watching and taking part, and sharing and bringing some amazing guests, and all the guests also bring a huge level of upliftment and inspiration.
Definitely, things can only get better, hopefully.
I'm hoping, not just hoping, I'm saying it will get better.
It will get better. It will get better. So is it time to introduce the guest now?
I think so, definitely.
Yes. Yeah?
Let's go.
Let's go. Okay, so Vanessa Taylor is an author, and she's a mother, and she's written a book called All the Boys. And it'd be great for Vanessa to step into the room and we can have a little chat with her. Hello.
Hi, hello.
Hello. Welcome to Women's L.I.K.
Hi, Vanessa.
Hi.
I read your book last night. It's great. Great.
Oh, great. Thank you. Glad you enjoyed it.
I really did.
Really fantastic. So you won the People's Book Prize this year, which I'm happy for you to share that with us because I think it's an amazing achievement. Have you got it with you?
I do. Of course I do. I have, here it is. Here's my award.
Wow.
Fantastic. And just explain to us how you came to get that award. Who voted for you?
Okay, so why this award is really special is because it is the People's Award. So anyone that's read the book, that's enjoyed the book, have an opportunity to vote for it, to say, yeah, this is our favourite book of the moment. And obviously enough people voted for my book to win. And here I am.
Absolutely.
I think that's really special. It's not done by a small panel of 6 or 7 people that have read the book and make a decision. It's open to the general public, and it is for the people to actually vote. So that's what makes it even more special.
Amazing. Absolutely incredible. Well done. That's much deserved. I've seen your social media posts and your keepy uppies and how you engage people through football, and I think it's fantastic.
Thank you.
A brief overview of the story. I know that Sandra's read the book and she had some questions as well, but just give us a bit of a taster.
Okay, so here it is. This is Baller Boys. And the main idea is, so it's about a group of children, 2 best friends in particular, Shay and Frankie, who live football, dream football, play football all the time, and the only thing missing from their life is to actually play for a football team. So when they find out that the local team are holding trials, the best friends go up for it. And they do their best. They go home and they wait for results. And what happens is one of them makes the main team and the other doesn't. He offered a place in like a reserve team. And from there on, we look at the relationship between the 2 friends and how, if at all, it changes. And throughout the book, what happens is, in a really nice, fun, friendly way, we learn about the characters in the team. So not just the best friends, the characters in the team and their lifestyles, their health concerns, just about them generally, and how as a team they work together to support each other with the help of their coaches and their parents to help each other find a place, in their little worlds. And, most children we know want to belong somewhere. And these boys find a place within the team. And it's really, really, it's quite a lovely little story, and lots of fun things happen within the story. But ultimately, it's about friendship and belonging.
I like that. For me, I've got to be honest with you. I read the book and it came to the end and I was upset about it because I wanted to read more. So I was like, please don't finish. This is really good. And yet the other thing is, I've got a son. My son played football. He played for Oxford United, Watford, trial with Tottenham. So I was one of those mums that goes to the matches. I'm on the sideline. I'm shouting everything out. I'm seeing disappointment. I'm seeing all of it, even in your book. But why did you pick football? What was the reason behind that? Why you could have picked netball? So why did you pick football?
Okay, so this book came about at a time for me where I was really quite unwell, and I was writing a lot about my health concerns, about just what it was about being unwell, how I felt, and that was all that I was focused on for a time. And my daughter and my son-in-law, who at the time was actually a football coach, they both worked in schools, actually said to me, we've got an idea. We'd like you to write this book for us. And I think for all of us, we all knew about the types of books that were readily available in schools for children. And we wanted to create some books that were really diverse, that would appeal to most children. And in doing so, you know what football is like. You can look at most football teams, and they are there's every type of character within a football team, every culture, every religion, they're all mixed in with the team. And we thought a great way to show diversity would be through a football team.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
You certainly did focus on every culture there. I did like that, and the camaraderie, and the fact that there was even somebody that, you know, had special education needs, and how everybody got together, or where there were advantages and disadvantages, but the team somehow got together. I did like that. It was a small community. Great job.
Yeah, that was really important actually, because the characters in the book are really that they could be children from any classroom in any London or big city school. And that was what we wanted to do. We wanted to make most children that read that book be able to identify with one or more of the characters, something about the characters. And what was also important with sharing the characters' stories would allow children to see something of themselves, but also to see other children's lives and, you know, social concerns and health issues, to actually think, oh yeah, well, I might have ADHD. Okay, this character also has ADHD, and this is how they cope with it. But actually that child suffers from anxiety. Oh, let me see how that child copes with anxiety, and how as a team, with the support of the coaches, the whole team, you know, support the child with anxiety. So that was also really quite important. It just wasn't about showing, you know, different issues with different children. It was more than that. It was also about allowing other children to identify with their own issues, but also with the concerns of other children as well.
I just want to
Vanessa,
the little
Angela.
Suzy, I was going to say that the book's amazing. I just read a little snippet of it, of the background to the story, but I know that I work in schools, and I think the book is going to be ideal because, like you said, children can relate to something that they can read in the book, and they can start having those conversations. So I know that that'd be something that I'd probably be encouraging the schools that I work in to start getting copies of. So yeah, I'm really to see more of it.
Brilliant. Vanessa, you used to be a teacher in a London school in East London, and then were an assistant head teacher. So talk us through that experience and how that relates to the audience or your readership of your book. Okay,
so before I was retired, I was in teaching for, I think, around 25 years. Initially as a primary, always in a primary school as a class teacher, and then in the latter years as an assistant head teacher. Even before I became an assistant head, I've always kind of been responsible for literacy, with my main roles being around reading, engaging children in reading, and actually getting boys to engage and to read, and phonics as well. So working with boys over a number of years, trying to get them to read. What are you interested in? How can I get you to read? That's also what really helped me to be able to write this book, because spending lots of years talking with boys of that age about, you know, how can I engage you with reading, was where a lot of it came from. And then obviously moving on as an assistant head, being responsible for not just one class, but being responsible for all the children across the school and trying to get them to read, you know, and just doing a lot of work with actual boys. I mean, obviously I work with girls, but it is really, as we know, young boys are the ones that we're having most difficulty with getting them to engage with reading. So a lot of the ideas initially came from there. I think that was why my daughter, obviously, and my son-in-law knew that one of my remits was to engage boys in reading. So when they came up with this idea, it was actually ideal. It was actually ideal and came at the perfect time for me to write.
Absolutely. Do you think that the sort of literacy levels in young boys relates or translates into what's happening higher up the school in terms of exclusions and behaviour and that sort of thing?
Yeah, there's a definite link. There is a definite link, because I think as young boys are not reading and they may be struggling, you know, reading is really the foundation of education, I believe. And I think if young people are not reading very well, then it becomes difficult to access a lot of the curriculum as they get older. And, you know, once you're unable to access the curriculum, other things come into play. And then from those other things that come into play, if it's not sorted out, then there's lots of distractions and disruptions that lead to all sorts of things, including exclusions. So yes, definitely 100%.
Do you think it's changed as well? Because like when I was younger, my mum always encouraged me to read. That's all I did. And I'm just wondering whether times have changed because children have laptops and, you know what I mean, there's more technical stuff. Is that taking away from, you know, physically maybe picking up a book and reading it? I know that they've got Amazon, you know, other companies' Kindle, you can read a book on. But do you think that's taken slightly the focus away? We had to read because sometimes we were bored and we picked up a book and we read and we were getting knowledge and learning more. Has that had an influence?
I think so. I mean, all schoolwork, reading included, suffers at the hands of gadgets. You know, if you offer a child a book or you offer them some sort of game, most times they're going to go for the game. And I think as well, over this last year particularly, where we've been under, it's been really difficult and stressful. I do think, myself included, it's been easy for parents, you know, to say, it's fine, go on the computer, rather than, you know, we might say, you know, pick up your book and have a go. But once they're whining, we know that they've already had a stressful time, fine, go on your computer. And I think the computer is winning at the moment. That's why we need really good books to try and re-engage children.
I've just got memories. Oh, sorry, Angela, you go ahead.
I was going to say that it's interesting you say that, Sandra, because I even when I was pregnant with my children, I didn't know the sex of them. I just decided that I wanted to find out afterwards. But I read to them even when I was in the womb, and when they came out. I mean, when they got older, literally loved. They felt upset if I didn't have the chance or time to kind of read them a bedtime story. Because and there was one time my daughter, I think I read the same book, must have been for 6 or 7 months, every single night, because she loved it. Something to do with Mickey Mouse, and she's still got that book now. Wow. But I just think, and my son's an avid reader. Yeah, and, you know, he's able to kind of balance his gaming. You know, he's only just got into gaming since lockdown started, but he still reads before he goes to bed at night, and he's 17. So, and I would say to parents and carers that, you know, if your child can't read, what are they interested in, and get them a book in relation to what they're interested in. That will at least kind of kickstart them.
I think you're right, and we do need to encourage our children to read. My mum used to say to me, if I said to her I'm bored as a child, my mum would say, go read. That's what my mum would say to me. You couldn't possibly be bored because you knew you could pick a book up. And that's what we did. We read. We went to the library and spent the whole day in a library. So what are your tips for parents, Vanessa? What would you say to parents? Give me a tip. You know, so parents out there who are watching this and listening, what should they do?
Do you know what I always say? I actually believe all children will read and will love reading. I just think you have to find them the right book. So it is about talking to your children. What's their interest? If they're interested in football, and then great, Baller Boys is the perfect book for them. If they're interested in ice skating, or if they're interested in even Fortnite, there are actually Fortnite books that they can read. I just think we need to find what they're interested in first, and that's the starting point for something to read. And also, especially even with younger children, in pretty much the same way, I think it's about parents reading to their children until their children can read themselves, and then even reading with your children and actually being really good role models. Maybe, you know, having like, you know, every day for half an hour, everyone in the house is going to have a read of their own book. I think it's really about those kinds of things. So being a good example as a reader to your children yourself.
I think that's a really good point. And I think what I work with parents around, you know, who have reading needs or additional needs, is reminding them to do that as a shared activity, because we're all guilty of, go and read it on the computer or look it up online, which is very easy. And they do get those technical skills, but they get more than just learning how to read with you. They actually learn how to, you know, regulate their emotions and, you know, improve their vocabulary. And I think that the hard truth is being a parent takes time. You know, you've got to be stuck in. You've got to get in with them. You've got to sit down with them. You've got to play on the floor with them. And I think that because we have all this technology that gives us some time, or we think it gives us time, while they can say, you know, the babysitter that's the computer, actually it comes back to bite us on the bum, doesn't it, if we haven't properly engaged them, because then they'll get, you know, disrupted, or they'll get bored, or they'll go out with their friends and get up to nonsense. And I think we have to kind of really, as parents, raise our game. I mean, that may be, you know, not necessary for everyone, but I think we have to put more of ourselves into the whole parenting. Definitely. So, sorry, Sandra.
I was going to say, what about, because in terms of reading, we know about that, but you've written a book. What are your tips on writing? There's someone sitting there looking at you thinking, well, I would like to do what this lady's done. What could they do if they want to start? I mean, where's your happy place? Where do you go and write a book? You just do it anywhere? No.
So I actually started writing in my local library. I used to go to my local library and sit in the children's section. They would allow me to take my flask and my sandwich and sit in the corner, and I used to write. But fortunately for me, because my writing is a lot about football, I actually go to matches. I go to a lot of matches. I'm lucky that I've got 2 grandsons who play football, who are the similar age to the characters in the book. So I go to most of their matches on a Sunday morning. And, you know, yeah, I do. I get lots of ideas. I actually take either a dictaphone or just a notepad and write down lots of little things that happen, things that the coaches shout, things that the parents say, action that's happening on the pitch. I actually go and make notes and actually use them. Or my grandsons, especially the youngest one, who's going to be 10, he will, you know, say to me, Grandma, you know, you can talk about Ronaldo chops. And I'm like, what's Ronaldo chops? And he will show me this skill. And then I've got to add that into the book. Well, if I'm not sure about something, I ask them and they will say to me, yeah, that's all right to say. Oh, no, not like that. Change it. It's a bit like this. Or come and watch and I'll show you how it goes. That was how I ended up doing a kick-ups challenge. My grandson challenged me to do kick-ups. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
That makes very good Instagram. It was very good Instagram, I'll tell you, because I was so impressed with you. You went out there and you did your keepy uppies, and I was like, wow, Vanessa, that's impressive.
I think initially he challenged me to do something like 3, and I was like, no problem, 3. Oh my gosh. It took me a long time to get past 1. It took a long time to get past 1. But in the end, I think I challenged myself and I got to 11. And I was happy.
Done.
Oh, that's amazing.
I only did 2.
And I have the evidence.
Wow.
Well,
Vanessa, you talked earlier, you just touched on your illness, and I know that's a sort of a starting point for your sort of transformation into a writer. But tell us more about how you managed to turn that difficulty into something positive and sort of writing as therapy. How did that work for you?
Okay, so yeah, I was medically retired from teaching. And as I said, I love writing. So I used to just write. But as I said about my illness, and then my daughter and son-in-law said, Mum, we've got this idea for a book. Can you write this? And that was really the start of it. And the book actually, in the end, took me about nearly 4 years to write. And that was because in the middle of my own illness, unfortunately, my son-in-law passed away. And for a time, I couldn't write. You know, it was really difficult. I couldn't write. But my family encouraged me to continue, and I did, because in the actual book there's a character called Coach Reese. He wasn't actually in the original book, but Coach Reese is actually based on my son-in-law, who was called Coach Reese. But yeah, so for me, I think for anyone that wants to write, I think the first thing to do is to actually pick up a pen or your laptop, whatever suits you, and to write. But what I think is good is to write about things that you know about. Now, I can write about children all day long because I know about children. But it was then, what about children? So with the support of my son-in-law and my grandsons, that was where the football side came into it. But I would always say, write about something you know or something that you're really passionate about. So even if you don't know it that well, but you're passionate about it and you're prepared to do the research, then that would be fine as well. But I think the starting point is about something that you know about or something that you're really genuinely passionate about.
Fantastic. It's lovely to have a tribute with your son-in-law in the book. Yeah. That's a beautiful tribute. Yes, yeah.
So you know what Suzy said about your illness, and I'm sorry to touch on it. And I'm where are you now? Because I know you're raising awareness about blood cell donation. What response are you getting to that? Because I know that in the Black community, it's about people sort of quite scared to sort of go and give blood or do something. Yeah. Are you getting a good response to that?
Yeah. So I was diagnosed with leukemia in February 2016. And at that point, I was told immediately that I would need a stem cell to survive. I think my body contained something like 99% leukemia, and I was told I would need a stem cell. And unfortunately, at the time, all the registers were searched in England and abroad, and there was not a match for me. Now, I've always said this, I don't believe that I'm that unique, so there is no one else in the world that has the same stem cells as me. I just believe the person is not actually registered. That's what I truly believe. So I've spent all my time since then actually just trying to encourage people to join the register. And yeah, within the Black community, it's really difficult. People have got all sorts of ideas and fears about what happens once they, their saliva sample is sent off. They think, all sorts of things, that things are taken out from their DNA. First of all, they don't want to register because they think that their DNA is going to be used for something different. Then they believe that actually if they do register and they do become a stem cell donor, that actually they're going to be drilled into their marrow, but drilled into the bones to take the marrow out. And actually 99.9% of the time or thereabouts is taken through as if you're having blood taken from your arm. It's really, really a simple procedure, but people think when they hear donor, that they're really donating something much bigger than just blood. And all it is the stem cells are taken. So the whole process is from one of your arm, blood is taken from one of your arms and it's spun in a machine that looks a bit like a washing machine. Stem cells are removed from your blood and then your blood is taken back to your body in your other arm. So out of one arm into a washing machine looking thing and then back into your own body. And the stem cells are removed in this washing machine. And it takes roughly about 4 hours of your time to potentially save somebody's life. And after you've finished, you have a cup of tea, you go home, you get on with your life. The next day, more or less, you go back to work and you get on with your life. And for giving up those 4 hours of your life to have some of your stem cells removed, which I believe your body replenishes all of them within, I think, less than 2 weeks, you can potentially save somebody's life. It's that easy, but people don't understand and people are really frightened. So I've spent lots of time speaking to the community about this, and then they say, oh, I didn't realize it was that easy. But I know, I've worked for about 3 or 4 different charities, and one that I'm working with the most, ACLT, the African Caribbean Leukemia Trust, I know how hard they work to try to educate people. They've been doing it for over 25 years, but people still say, oh, I didn't know it was that straightforward. So the conversation continues.
Good to know.
Yeah.
And it's great that you've taken the time to explain that. And I think just in doing that alone is going to help so many people and help to sort of take away some of that fear. So I think that's fantastic that you shared that with us. That's brilliant. So just as a final note, do you have, we've got a little ticker at the bottom saying where you can buy your book, etc. But just in case that's not, if people have missed that, tell us where people can find out. Aha, it's on there, but just tell us yourself where you can get your book, etc. All of the details and your social media feed so we can follow your next, you can do a header challenge next time or whatever it is.
The book is actually available from all the usual places, local bookstores, Amazon, Waterstones, Blackwell's, WH Smith. But the best place to buy a copy from, if you'd like a signed copy, is from my actual website. Yeah. And my website is, I'm hoping it's going to go up on screen, is www.ballerboysbooks.com, which is also the same name for my Instagram. And I've got a Facebook page, all with at ballerboysbooks.com, or on Twitter on Vanessa T Writes. Lots of people contact me on Twitter. Lots of children actually, obviously through their parents, contact me on Instagram. So if you ever looked at my page, it's full of children reading my book, sending me clips of them reading the book or holding the book or dressed up as one of the characters. Or I even had, I call him a super fan. He actually made a cake. And wow. He made a cake with his mum, and the cake was the cover of my book. And then they used some chocolate fingers to make a goalpost. It was absolutely amazing. Then they sent me a picture of that. So I've got some really extreme fans that I absolutely adore.
Oh, that's amazing.
Have you got any new books, any follow-up books? Because obviously Sandra's going, she's dying for the next one.
The next one. And I know I know it sort of feels like it's a child's book, but it's so easy. It's just like, I read all sorts of books, and I will read any book. You give me a book, I will read it. But it was just so nice. It was just a pleasant book. It was lovely.
I mean, obviously it's had great reviews and it's won an award, but I get contacted by lots and lots of parents who say, do you know what? My son read your book. He never reads, but he read your book because he identified with the character Shay. He also had asthma. Or he identified with Frankie, who wears glasses. He didn't want to wear glasses, and I've had schools and libraries contact me that have used my book in group reading sessions, because there's lots that's going on in the book that they use in their activities. And I've been encouraged, and I've done quite a few Zooms with groups of schools, and that's been really interesting as well. Children telling me all about my book. So it's really funny to sit and listen to children telling me about my book. Oh, and this character does this, and I really like when he does this, and I'm thinking, yeah, I know.
I wrote it.
Well done.
Yeah. So book 2, I have been commissioned by my publishers to write book 2, which is ongoing at the moment. I don't have a release date for it, but book 2 is definitely on its way.
Fabulous.
Absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Oh, so are we done with
yeah.
Thank you very much.
Questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vanessa. It's been fantastic to have you on Women's Lik on our first show and telling us and sharing so generously about your book, Baller Boys, and we can't wait for the next.
You know what, before we close, what I didn't say when I spoke about my leukemia and that I was told I'd need a stem cell, one was never found, but I am okay. I'm in remission, and I've been in remission for over 4 years, and I'm actually doing really, really well.
Brilliant news.
Amazing.
Brilliant.
That is fantastic. You are an inspiration, Vanessa. Seriously, thank you so much for your time.
Brilliant. Thanks for having me.
We'll see you at the end.
We'll see you at the end.
See ya. Oh, there you go. ballerboysbooks.com if you're interested. That's Vanessa's website, ballerboysbooks.com, and you can find out all about her there, get the book, read the synopsis. Great stuff.
Brilliant.
Wow. I'm sorry, guys. I'm actually fidgeting at the moment. Sorry, it's uncomfortable where I'm sitting. I should have sat on a chair, and I'm sat on my daughter's bed. So sorry about this.
I thought you were eager to kind of do some keepy up.
Oh, I'm fidgeting. I'm sorry. I'm getting. If anyone out there's got a cushion that they could post to me, please post it. Wow, it's uncomfortable.
Cushions coming in now. Any particular colour, Sandra?
Any. Go with the red jacket, guys. Go with the red. I'm matching it.
Oh God! Wow, Vanessa! Wow,
great. Yeah.
And actually, as an only girl with 4 brothers, I have no other choice but to play football. So I do know the rules of football and the offside rule as well, because the worst thing was I had to be goalie for both sides. I'm sure.
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about. I'm not allowed to talk about football in the room. If my husband and son are talking and I join in, they both just turn around and look at me. And I'm not, because I'm an age, so I'm not allowed to say anything.
You have told me about all these amazing women's football teams there are now.
But I have told them that
they're not.
I think they think it's amazing, but obviously, everybody's playing football now, and there's room for everybody. So I think it's great. But for guys, it's like they're looking at their teams, aren't they? Arsenal, whatever, all these teams. So, but I think they know that there's room for everybody. Definitely.
Yeah. For real.
I've got no choice. The women are. Yeah. In fact, football was a women's game long before. That's another thing, we can talk about that another time.
Really, Angela?
Was played, and it was very popular. And I think, if I remember rightly, it's when it got too popular that I think the men kind of either pushed it to one side or kind of thought, no, women can't play football anymore. There's a program about it.
I'd love to see that. Love to see that. What about, are we going to be bringing on Ricardo in a minute then? Because he's obviously I bet he can't wait to come on.
Has he got to the table? Our next guest will be drum roll, Ricardo P Lloyd, who is a British up-and-coming actor. And he's got a very interesting story, and I'm sure he's going to be joining us soon.
Hey,
So,
how's it going?
Hey,
Ricardo.
Great platform, by the way. And it's good to see so much powerful, strong women in the room.
amazing.
Thank you. Before you ask them any questions, Suzy, I need to know this, and everybody's looking at that screen. What does the P stand for?
Paris.
It's got to be a good.
Paris.
Paris.
Yeah, so now I'll put that in the public. Yeah.
Oh, like it. Ricardo Paris Lloyd.
Yeah, but it's that's my brand. That's my name. Ricardo P
If you
Lloyd.
said Peter,
No,
it would have gone, would it? So
maybe it's a mystery. Maybe it's just a mystery. Maybe Paris I just made it up. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows?
I like it. It flows really nicely, doesn't it, Ricardo?
It does. It does.
It does.
Love it.
So, Ricardo, joining the Women's League, how does it feel being with all these women going, rah?
Well, it's not a surprise for me because I've grew up around strong women, so it's nothing new to me. But it's great to see you guys do your thing, and you're very articulate and you carry yourself well. You all come from different backgrounds, and just the conversation that you just had with the guest Vanessa, I was very much in tune with it. You're saying some interesting stuff there.
Amazing. So now is your turn to shine. We'd love to hear a bit more. Who is Ricardo? And tell us a little bit about, when you first got the acting bug.
Yeah. Well, my name is Ricardo, like you said. And for me, acting has been a journey. And it's been a journey that's kind of transformed my life. Having gone down the wrong path in life, acting was the one thing that I was kind of gifted at, and that enabled me to have a different perspective, enabled me to understand humanity and the world around me in a way that I wouldn't normally understand. And it gave me a platform and a way to express myself.
Absolutely. I mean, we first got in contact when you were in the play Excluded, and I have a lot of interest in exclusions and education because of the work that I do. And also Vanessa was very, she's been a teacher and assistant head teacher. So just talk us through your experience of the play and how it related to you. Yeah,
so I did a play called Excluded in 2019. And it was kind of like a landmark play for me in the sense of I had took a break from acting because I come from performing arts background, so I have a degree in it. I was in the corporate world for a little while, working in NHS, health education, and doing that kind of admin stuff. But it wasn't something that I kind of enjoyed. I never enjoyed this stuff. It was just like money. You've been told to get a job and all these kind of things. But my true passion was acting. So I joined a theatre company, and then I did some plays, working with Royal Shakespeare, working with people like Mark Rylance and stuff like that. And then we did a production called Excluded, which generated national press, appearing on BBC Sunday Morning Live, ITV News London, and all those kind of key platforms and stuff like that. Because it was very topical, because I think the government just released a report at the time about school exclusion, and a lot of young people from disenfranchised background are getting excluded. So the play was kind of at the center of that. And I played a character called Romeo. So it took Shakespeare's iconic characters and it transformed them into a school setting. So I played Romeo. And it very much was close to home in the sense that I relate to the story of being excluded, because I was one of those young black guys that didn't do too well in school. And I was stereotyped a lot. And I almost felt like I was always trying to prove myself. And I never was really accepted and whatever. But acting was a way for me to kind of have a voice, and it had saved me because I failed my GCSEs and stuff like that. So acting was the one thing, acting in English was the one thing that I was actually kind of good at. So from there, I went on to uni. I went to college, did a BTEC level 3, and got a DD and all that stuff, DDM, which is distinctions and all that. Then I went to uni, I got my BA honors, and then I did a master's of business administration degree. And then I went back into acting after taking a break, doing all these theatre productions and stuff like that.
Wow. Fantastic.
You sound very, very talented. It's amazing. So, but what are you hoping to achieve in your acting career? What are you hoping to actually achieve?
There's no limits to success. For me, I don't have a ceiling. I think the heroes that I kind of looked up to in life was the Tupacs, the Michael Jacksons, the Bob Marleys, all these guys. And these are musicians, but they all achieved greatness in their lifetime. So I feel like when you have heroes that are great, you can only aspire to be great and be greater.
Love that answer. Is there a show that you would like to be in, and why?
I want to play a character that I can convey the truth of that character, that you can look at it and be like, oh yeah, only Ricardo could have played that. And unless there's a role, I want there to be a role like that for me. I'm not really keen on the production or any of that. It's just about bringing inspiration and truth and entertainment, escapism to my audience.
Yeah.
I was going
to say, what's your favorite kind of medium? Would you want to kind of still doing?
I'm trying to. I'm at the stage. Yeah, sorry. I'm at the stage right now in my career where I'm trying to transition from theatre, because I did a lot of theatre productions and had credits, to film and TV, because I feel like film and TV really immortalizes you. It kind of outlives you. So when you die, people can watch back and whatever. And when you're on stage, what happens is it's a live experience, but it's not really captured. It's not the same. Whereas film and TV outlives. But no, they're both valuable platforms and mediums. And I wouldn't mind still doing a theatre show here and there a year, but just more on film and TV, because I feel like that's what I feel like that's the qualities that I possess, is being on camera.
Tell us about your sort of acting style. I mean, or your method, or do you go into do lots of research, or how do you get into character, and how do you transform from being Ricardo P Lloyd, the person, to the role that you're playing?
I feel like my acting style varies. It's depending on the role and the piece that I'm doing. And like what you said, research is definitely key. So you definitely need to do your research, your groundwork. And also, as an actor, as a creative, I have a toolbox. So I have a lot of things that I've accumulated over the years through life experience. So sometimes I would tap in my toolbox to use that for a character.
I like that. Well, I've got to say, when I was at school, I auditioned to be in a thing called Starting Out at school. But anyone who's watching this will know if they auditioned with me. And I had to sing a song. Can I sing one line of the song, please? It was mud, mud, glorious mud. There's nothing quite like it for cooling the blood. So I sang that song, and I got through to that audition. I got into a show called Starting Out, and I was playing an orphan. The director did say to me, I've got to let you know, there were 2 black girls and 1 white girl auditioning, just fact. And the director said, just to let you know that you may not get through, because we're not, it might be that we're not looking for black people. Do you get what I mean? He just told me fact. That's how it was. Have you had any challenges? Have you faced any challenges like that since you started your acting career?
Of course.
So
of course, I've faced a lot of challenges. Being a young black actor, especially when you're dealing with agents, casting directors and stuff like that, they will say stuff like, we already got someone that looks like you, and all these kind of things. So I don't feel like my counterparts, who are white or whatever, will experience that, because they're more embracing. I think as well, there's a lot of things to do with classism as well. Like if you go to a certain school and all that kind of stuff, they kind of stereotype you. Because I didn't go through the whole typical drama school route, even though I got a degree. So the drama school route sometimes is seen as like prestigious, like especially if you're like white or middle class and you've come from drama school, you're automatically going to get an agent. Whereas someone that's from my kind of urban background, it's like you have to fight much more harder to get seen and be heard, and to even do something that you're good at, you're talented at.
So knowing that, what's going to make you stand out from the crowd then? What do you think is going to make you stand out in that way?
What's your unique selling point?
Yeah, my unique selling point is being myself. And I think there's no one else that can be me. I feel like if I'm trying to be a Daniel Kaluuya, or I'm trying to be a Damson Idris, then I've missed the point. I have to be authentic to me. That's what being an artist is. It's being authentic to yourself and to life, and being a representation of the things you've experienced and presenting that to the world. I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, you are making sense. Absolute sense.
I never look at myself and feel like I'm inadequate. I look at myself as I'm a child of God, and I can achieve and I can be anything I want to be in life. And I don't really care what the industry is saying. It's what I want to do. It's about my unique purpose. and making sure that I fulfill that, because when I die, I want to make sure that I leave a legacy that outlives me, that someone can be inspired by my story and feel like, wow, Ricardo did it, I can do it.
You mentioned, sorry, Tupac and Michael Jackson, who are very big individualists, if you like, following their own creative goals and you know, not wanting to do what everyone else is doing. And they were legends in their time. So that's interesting how you point to them as your creative inspirations.
Definitely.
So what would be what kind of role would you want to play to leave your mark in film? What would that role be?
Oh, the ideal role, is what we're saying.
Do you think he's going to say James Bond?
No, I think there's already been a James Bond. It has to be, if there's any writers out there that can, for me, if there's any writers out there that can write a role for me specifically, then yeah, let's do it. I don't want to be something that's already been done before. There's already been Marvels, there's already been all these characters. There has to be a character that's not been done or not been seen before, if that makes sense. I'm not trying to just do what the status quo done or what's been done before. There has to be something innovative, fresh. So I don't try to mold myself or place myself in things that's already been done, or I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, you're making sense. Well, the thing is, you've made your own documentaries and a film. So what's it like being on the other side of the camera then for you?
Well, I think my business skills actually helps a lot, because I understand that it's an industry at the end of the day. So there's a lot of skill sets that you can use and harness. And I feel like the other side of it is pretty interesting. It's still creative and it's still, but I'm an actor. I'm always going to be an actor. So I can enjoy doing the other things, creating other things. But my first and foremost is acting. So sometimes I've done the other things so it can enhance my opportunities for an actor, if that makes sense. I never set out to be a producer or any of that stuff. I'm an actor first, but sometimes those opportunities are not coming to you. So rather than wait for a casting director to give you one or your agent to call you up, you have to create.
Absolutely. Wow. Would you be interested in working with a writer to write a role for yourself?
100%. And we've got so much a fantastic woman. You're a writer. Vanessa's a writer. There's so much fantastic.
It's true.
The networks that you can use and I wouldn't even mind doing a reading for one of your books or something like that. And just presenting in another way. I've got a little niece. She's 1 year old, and I used to watch these programs on CBBC, and I don't really see enough representation of Black stories or stories from ethnic backgrounds. So just stuff like that, I want to kind of change visually.
Yeah, and I think you're right to be proactive in that respect, and approach actors and approach directors and make it happen. I think that's what you're saying, is actually making it happen for yourself, which I think is fantastic. So is there any other? Oh yes, you've worked with Mark Rylance. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Mark Rylance is a great guy. I never even knew who he was, to be honest with you. But I worked with him through a theatre company that I was involved with, and he was great in the sense of giving me mentorship and guidance on, what it is to be an artist. He's a true artist in the sense of he knows that he has a responsibility, to tell meaningful stories and to use his voice to change the world. And that's the kind of artist that I want to be in life. I don't want to just be an artist just to entertain you, because I feel like, what's the point of doing that? We can all have a laugh and being entertained, but it's about what can you do to empower, educate, inspire. And, Mark has kind of showed me that, just through his humanitarian work, his philanthropy kind of efforts, that's what being a true artist is. And the people that I'm inspired by, like the Tupacs, the Michael Jacksons, the Bob Marleys, they all have the same thing. And when someone is able to know that they are a vessel of change, then that is something that you have to commend.
Absolutely. Well, I can certainly see your star quality and your determination, Ricardo. And I personally have every conviction that you're going to make it and do what you want to do and make it.
I've got a question for you girls, you women, you strong women.
So let's take the girls theme.
Yeah.
We're not prepared for this, are we, ladies? I don't know what you're going to say.
Okay, this is your first ever show. How does it feel?
Well, great. It's not my first show per se. It's my first women's show, but it feels fabulous. And I've got two fabulous sisters with me, so I feel great. Absolutely great.
So everything that you've done, you've prepared for this moment, and now you've actually finally done it. So congratulations, man.
Thank you very much. Speaking of congratulations, though, I know you were listed in the Voice newspaper in a top 20. Are you happy to tell us about that very quickly?
Yeah, man. Yeah. So 2019, 2020 was. So I just came back from the show that Suzy just mentioned, Excluded. So it was a kind of a big show for me, in terms of like me getting back into acting after taking a break and all the attention that it generated. And then I had struggled, during that time in terms of like agents, because that's the next thing. Once you have a show and all these kind of things, you want representation. So I struggled to get an agent. I had a big agent at the time who represented people in EastEnders that wanted me. That didn't quite go to plan or whatever. And then I was going through like this place of like, depression. And 2020, I had landed an agent, a commercial agent, and then an agent in film and TV and stuff like that. And then it's like my accomplishments and the things that I'd done in 2019 was like getting recognized. So I didn't even know that I was in the Voice newspaper. Someone had actually messaged me on Instagram and showed me that I was in there. And that was definitely humbling for me, because to be like seen by people in your your community and recognized for your talent, that was definitely a humbling thing.
No, that's amazing. Well done. Really good.
Thank you.
You sound like you're definitely a man on a mission, and the mission is kind of like you're
man. For me, it's all about purpose. It's all about just achieving your purpose. I think life is too short to waste any moment or any time thinking, what if? I don't want to be one of those people with regrets of thinking like, what if only I'd done this? I want to be someone that has done everything that he's set out to do in life,
Got a message here. It's from North Weasley, London. Big up.
Okay.
Example to the youth. Here. That's fantastic.
That's from our director.
Oh, bless you, man.
Amazing.
I think it's very, it's inspiring that, there's so much positivity on this conversation. You asked us, how do we feel? And, we've all had many disappointments and difficulties, and we've still got to this point. I mean, even just putting the program together, different points of view, different challenges, on all kinds of questions. But we were determined to do it, and we were determined to support each other and get here. And I'm so grateful to be doing this, and Sandra has paved the way, and Angela, and I've joined the team, and we've created something that is uniquely ours. Three crazy opinionated women. I mean, hell. And here we are. So it's fantastic. It's a fantastic moment in time.
Yes, definitely.
And you're only just going to grow and get better and better.
Yeah. We hope so.
That's what I want. Yeah, absolutely. I feel honored.
Ricardo's website's just up there, guys.
I make sure you guys follow me on my social media. Yeah, Ricardo P Lloyd on all platforms, and that's Instagram, that's Twitter, and all that stuff. And connect to me, man. I want to connect with people. I really do.
Okay.
You heard it from Ricardo himself, guys. It's on the bottom of the screen. You can see it there. So you heard. Yeah, definitely connect.
I'll be following on Instagram, so I feel honoured.
And look out for my short film that's going to come out called "Call It a Problem," which I done earlier this year during lockdown. So I wanted to, like I said, just create my own opportunities rather than wait for my agents and stuff to contact me for stuff. So I created a short film with up and coming talent from my area.
Wow.
So it's about a young guy who's an aspiring football player, just like Vanessa. Kind of not her story, but in my own interpretation, because I've never seen a narrative like that before. It's always that kind of stereotypical narrative. So I wanted to do something different.
So when's that gonna? When do you think roughly?
I'm waiting to see from the platform. It's hopefully be on Fully Focus platform. So I'm waiting for them to message me and contact me and what's going on with that.
Okay. Well, no doubt we'll find out, won't we?
Yeah. Looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be a nice time to invite Vanessa back into the room, because I'm sure you've got questions for Vanessa, and it'd be nice just to have a final chin wag before we have to sign off on this first program. So it'd be great to see Vanessa back with us. Hey, Vanessa.
Guys, listen, now that we've got Vanessa back in the room, guys, you don't know I'm going to do this. I've got some quick fire questions for you. So I'm going to start with Ricardo. Just some quick fire questions. You just have to answer it. That's all. Okay. Denzel Washington or Idris Elba?
Denzel all day.
Fine. Cinema or theatre?
Cinema.
Viola Davis or name Naomi Harris?
I have to be my home girl. Naomi, man. Naomi Harris.
Naomi, yeah.
She's a mentee of mine.
Morgan Freeman or Samuel L. Jackson?
Morgan Freeman. F. Samuel Jackson. He didn't like the British people. He didn't like him.
That's what he said. We scrapped that word.
Yeah, okay.
Brad Pitt or Bradley Cooper?
Oh,
Brad
that's
Pitt.
non-brainer.
Don't let Angela get involved. Amazon or eBay? You're a
Amazon.
businessman.
God.
Tea or coffee?
I'm because I'm British. I'm gonna have to say tea, right? It's tea.
With his little finger in the air while copying it out there.
Yeah.
Marmite, yes or no?
No.
Who is this man? Vanessa, over to you. Grange Hill or Waterloo Road?
Grange Hill all day long.
Bring it on, girl.
Yeah.
Ian Wright or Raheem Sterling?
Ian Wright. He's a generation.
Gotta be righty.
David Beckham or Wayne Rooney? You just have to pick one, no reasons why.
Beckham.
No worries. J.K. Rowling or Jacqueline Wilson?
Jacqueline Wilson.
She's lovely.
Cornflakes or Frosties?
Cornflakes.
I had cornflakes for breakfast this morning. Cozy Calf or busy restaurants?
Cozy Calf.
Right, that's where she writes her books. Pepsi or Coke?
Neither.
Good on ya. What do you drink instead then?
I don't drink fizzy drinks at all.
She's a good woman. Marmite, yes or no?
Yes.
Ricardo, you're out. Ricardo, you're out. My questions are over. Well done, guys.
I've got a question.
What's the prize?
Okay.
A question to both of you. What would you have chosen to do had you not gone, for you, Vanessa, had you not gone into teaching or written a book? What is something that you were passionate about that you may look back and think, actually, I wonder what would have happened if I'd done that?
Do you know what? I think from the time I was about 17, I knew I wanted to be a teacher, to be fair. But I think if I had a chance at anything, I'd be like Ricardo. I'd love to get into acting. I don't think I'd be any good, but I'd have loved the chance.
Why not? They still need mature people. And, beautiful older women. So what say you? You could probably test it out.
I think so.
There's no limit to acting.
Absolutely.
There's no limit in age. Look at Morgan Freeman.
Also, Vanessa, what about if Baller Boy was serialized?
Yes.
That would be the ultimate. And I'll tell you why that would be really special. Not just because probably I'd be rich and famous, but because of the characters, because of the diversity of the characters.
Exactly. It would create so many new roles for different actors, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's make that a thing.
Let's make that a thing. So if anyone's watching, let's make that thing.
Definitely.
Contact Vanessa. And Ricardo, to you as well. What would you have you not gone into acting? What, looking back, anything that you were passionate about when you were younger that you kind of thought, well, now I'm on my acting career, but if I hadn't?
Well, when I was in my teenage years, I did a bit of like spoken word poetry. So I would have done something like that, still within the creative arts.
Yeah.
I've got like over 100 poems that I didn't release. So I could, still do that.
Wow.
In a book, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You never know.
Good idea.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Actually, Ricardo, you mentioned one of your favorite poets is Benjamin Zephaniah.
Yes.
That's my man. Hook.
Yeah.
Ricardo,
I just know what he's done in terms of his career and stuff.
Yeah, but I interviewed him recently, and my sister is doing her master's in creative writing, and Benjamin is her tutor. So
wow.
yeah, He's great.
He's a dope guy.
Great.
For me, I like artists and what they stand for, and he stands for a lot of great stuff.
Oh, somewhere along the line, we need to catch up all together. Okay, so we need to contact Benjamin and we get into a room together and we chat. Definitely.
Just on the Benjamin Zephaniah note, he wrote the most amazing endorsement for my book. He's a great guy. Yeah.
Well, big up Benjamin, wherever you are.
Yes. I've got Benjamin, I've got Alex Wheatle.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they're both really, really great guys. They are very, very supportive of us.
Can I just shout out to the Birmingham Massive? It's the Birmingham Massive.
Definitely. We are coming to the end, aren't we, Suzy and Angela? But our time is running out now, isn't it? So I don't know if you guys want to have a laugh.
We've got about a minute left, haven't we?
Oh.
Yeah.
I know. It's just flown by.
It's gone too quick.
It has.
So Vanessa and Ricardo,
tell all your friends about UltraVision TV to the next issue. Next issue on the 27th of June on a Sunday. So it's the last Sunday of every month. Okay. So next month is 27th of June, and we're already working on the guests for that. So tell all your friends when it goes out. Just share the clip. Make sure everyone follows Women's L.I.K on YouTube, on UltraVision, and make it a thing, make it big, make it massive.
Definitely.
We want to thank you very much. Thank you very much, both of you, for coming along and sharing your journeys as well. And Vanessa, I'm really glad that you're in great health and everything. Ricardo, good luck with both of you as well. Good luck for the future. Good luck with your next book. Vanessa, good luck with your acting career. We're going to hopefully see you on TV soon. So thank you very much for coming. Angela, last word from you, hopefully.
I just want to say thank you. It's been amazing for all the time and effort and the energy that we're putting to kind of getting the show together. And just two amazing guests. It's been fantastic. Really good start for us. So thank you so much to both of you for joining us on our inaugural start to Women's L.I.K.
Virtual high five.
Yes,
definitely. Anyone watching, if you do have any questions, we're on Instagram as UltravisionUK. We're at UltravisionUK on all social media. So do message us if you've got any questions and if you want to get involved. You know where we are.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And let us know if you've got any ideas, topics that you may want us to talk about.
And comment who you want us to interview, what you like, what you'd like to see more of. Just comment to us. I think we're done.